I was a vocal critic of Ahsoka, the series, and I still believe for good reason. There are plenty of flaws in Ahsoka as the new Disney Star Wars series, and I was very disappointed. Ahsoka Tano is one of my favorite Star Wars characters from the Clone Wars animated series. I hold her in very high esteem as far as one of my Star Wars characters and Star Wars heroines. And I really hope that they did something well with the live action series. And boy, my heart was broken watching the first 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. I thought it was extremely dull, poorly written with ridiculous character scenarios. And I heard a lot of people trying to hype it up and saying it was great. And I was like, I don't know what you're watching that you could say that this is great, because it's not. It's just not great. And that's not what I wanted. I really wanted this to work. Episode 3, I thought, was an improvement, though not much. I thought it had cleared up some of the technical filmmaking amateur flaws that seemed to plague the first 2 episodes. And then episode 4, I thought was okay, but it ended very well. I really like the way episode 4 ended, and I'll get into why I think that's important. Mm-hmm. I got a sense by the end of episode 4 that there's a reset coming. I sensed it. I sensed genuine world building opportunity. I felt that they had taken a slow way up to that, but there it was. And I was like, okay, let's see what they do in episode 5. And I loved episode 5, specifically the parts with Anakin and Ahsoka. I really loved it. I have heard a lot of different opinions on social media, on YouTube, on whether it's good or bad. However, as momentum has carried us through the week, the consensus seems to be definitively that this was well received by the public and that Ahsoka had done something right. And that's why I wrote that article, that a Star Wars moment has arrived. So I felt it was probably worth it for our channel here at Table Talk, or Heath's channel at Table Talk, to discuss it, to address maybe what we think went right, despite all that has gone wrong.
Well, we were quite critical of the first couple of episodes.
Yes, there was a couple YouTube shorts of me attacking the public.
It deserved it. It deserved it because the first 2 were. I really disliked the first episode with the passion. Sabine in particular was just insufferable. I just couldn't understand what they were doing with that character. But I was starting to like her a little bit more and more as it went on, because I was like, oh, okay, so the show is really centering around this character and not Ahsoka. So it's the Sabine show. And so I was feeling more empathy towards that character by episode 3-ish. And then 4, like you said, definitely was an upgrade. And you can feel like something was happening. They were shifting the focus to now Ahsoka and building her up as a character. I feel like I know her a little bit more after episode 5. And this was something I felt should have happened in the first episode.
I know we can't look 5 minutes.
Yeah. I know. I don't want to go backwards. We can never go backwards, but it should have happened in the first episode, and it's just taken so long to get here. So I'm like, okay, let's see what happens now, because I did like almost exactly how you described episode 4. Love the ending of that. Love Balin and all of the things that went on with that character, and want to see more. I want to see more of that character. And then just that shift of like, now everything is going to this other universe, this other galaxy, and the curiosity behind what is going to be behind that door,
Yes.
So that's exciting. And also possibly finally meeting Thrawn, this kind of mysterious bad guy that we just haven't gotten a chance to meet. We haven't gotten a chance to get into his mind and to feel like a real threat is happening. So
yeah, Heath and I discussed Thrawn at length in a prior stream, and we both agreed that the show probably should have started with Thrawn attacking the New Republic, like right off the bat. Show us tactically how he could carve up the New Republic, how he's a genuine threat that the Senate and everyone is taking seriously, but they don't know where he is. And then he comes in again and he slices up another place and gets out. Like, that's conflict. That's conflict. I felt like what cost the prequels for so long was that they opened with a Phantom Menace. There's no conflict, but there will be. In the meantime, we have a trade dispute. And Heath and I always love laughing at that because it's just not that interesting, a trade dispute.
Yes. The trade dispute is probably the sideline to that. That should have been just taken out of the storyline altogether. 100%. Yeah, totally.
So it's good to start with conflict. So I agree with you 100% that it's odd that it's an 8-episode series, and on episode 6, we might finally get the villain revealed. So it's awfully big gamble.
I don't know. Cameron says that they like to do the big penultimate episodes, because I was going, are they going to wait until 8 to show Thrawn? But Cameron said he thought it was going to be episode 7 because they like to do the big penultimate episode.
It's a big gamble with this. See, my thing is this. So I just want to say this. Clone Wars, which is now pretty much universally beloved, started terribly. I don't know if people even remember this. It started with a theatrical release 2-hour or hour and a half movie, a feature film. And this feature film was awful. People fell asleep. It got $18 million. Like, it was so bad. I saw it and I was like, I'm not interested in the Clone Wars. It was so bad that I never got caught up back with the Clone Wars for years. And I heard it was good. So it also and Ahsoka was not likable in the film. She was very teeny boppery and annoying, and Anakin's was a little off. And those 6-legged walkers from the prequels, it goes like up a wall, and I'm like, what are we watching? Like, what is this? But despite the terrible start, the Clone Wars found its rhythm and really took off. And but back then, there was an appetite for Star Wars.
Yeah.
To gamble with a slow start with today's audience that is very thin-skinned, very impatient, very quick to pull the trigger on a bad show, man, they're really gambling with that.
Yeah. And I think the nature of just the way you can do like certain things in animation you just can't do in live action. That I'm noticing that Filoni's kind of carrying over a lot, and that has to do with the pacing, kind of messes with the pacing a lot. But there's also great things that I see that he is very talented in doing visually. So I don't know. I just hope I hope that people that he's working with are helping him to kind of suss through, like, okay, this is working, this isn't working, because he is very talented. I just think he needs some help, some sculpting a little.
I think that's a great point. Part of me suspects that his transition from animation to live action has been a sloppy transition. Something tells me, and I could be totally wrong, that this is going to morph into its own thing here, where he's going to get away from the animated thinking.
Oh, good.
I think that's going to happen, and that we're going to get it's going to kind of find its own identity, because he does seem to understand Star Wars way better than the people over at Lucasfilm understand it. Filoni and Favreau seem to at least understand something about Star Wars, and like I said, I will make the case. The Clone Wars animated series, which Filoni worked on, is some of the best Star Wars besides the original trilogy. For me, like there's some series and episodes that are as good. Like, it's just great Star Wars. So we have the right guy on this. I know there's been a lot of people losing faith in Filoni, but I'm not going to give up on him yet.
Yeah, and I was talking about this with somebody, and it's just kind of like, I hope he doesn't get sort of like how Lucas was with the prequels, where everybody said, "Oh yeah, whatever you want, we'll do it." I think that he should definitely operate with like that, someone else to take a look at this and see if it looks good to them too, because I have this He's got a lot of great ideas. The thing is that his pacing is off. It takes him a long time to get to the punchline, but when it gets there, it's great.